And we are live after some very crazy technical difficulties. And as you can see, we're still having technical difficulties, but Krista is on my FaceTime and has graciously agreed to still appear. So thank you so much. She is a trooper. I really appreciate you doing this for me. What a crazy night we've had trying to figure it all out.
It has been. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. We've never had audio problems before, but we could not get audio going at all.
No.
And I can't read your bio because it was on my phone, but maybe you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Krista Jensen. I live in Yakima, Washington, which is almost right in the middle of Washington State. Right between the mountains and the desert, so we grow a lot of fruit. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
It's a fruit basket, so that's fun. I have 2 dogs and 5 kids and a husband. My older 4 kids are grown or growing up and almost all out of the house, and our youngest is 9 and just started school yesterday, and he's very excited.
Nice.
I've been writing for 13 years now, seriously writing for about 13 years, publishing. My first book was published in 2012, and yeah, I've tried to put something out every year since then.
I love your books. I think you do such a great job with the relationships.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now,
I enjoy writing the relationships.
I want to talk about Hearts of Briarwall. Now, this is kind of different. It's the Edwardian era. What made you, I mean, we know we have lots and lots of Regency books out there. What made you want to write Edwardian?
Well, I had been invited to participate in several, 3 anthologies writing Regency novellas. And I hadn't written historical before. I've written mostly, I've been published mostly in contemporary, but I was looking for a change. And I really enjoyed, I had so much fun writing that Regency. I took like 2 months and just totally immersed myself in research. I read it a lot. So it was really fun to write those shorter stories. And so I was already considering writing a full-length novel in there somewhere. And my editor, we talked about it, and she suggested, would I consider a different era? And so we talked about different eras, and she said, what would you think about the Edwardian era? And it wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah.
It's a short little era. But I love the Edwardian era. I love Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Downton Abbey and Pollyanna. I grew up watching Pollyanna, and I remembered that I don't know if you had Farrell's, if that was a West Coast thing, Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor, but it was a really great ice cream parlor. Every kid wanted their birthday party at Farrell's Ice Cream, and the theme for Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor was totally Edwardian, with Gibson girls and the big tire bicycles and lots of Peter Pan collars, and anyway, lots of big hats. And so I took that challenge and just, again, just studied, read some books, read nonfiction and fiction. Really hard to find fiction in that era, at least romance.
Yeah.
A lot of fiction from that era is pre-World War I, leading up to World War I. Some mystery, And then I watched some movies too. But I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to have like move at a clip, and I wanted the banter to be fun and moving. And my editor again suggested I read some books and a play. What is it? Something about being earnest. What is that called? The name is, it's a well-known play, and my brain is just giving up right now.
Well, after all we've been through trying to figure this out, I'm sure your brain is like, what?
Yeah. Anyway, so she had me read some of that, and it really influenced me getting the flavor, of that era. And I researched the artists and the writers of the time, and of course saw and realized that James Barrie was writing Peter Pan during that era, and it came out in 1904 and as a play, and played for the first time on stage, and ideas just started coming from that. So
I think that's what made it so unique for me, is that I don't know that I've ever read a romance in the Edwardian era. So that made it just kind of new and fresh and unique, and I really liked that.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I kind of feel like I don't know, testing waters.
Yeah. So now, is the Proper Romance line going to be introducing more Edwardian romances? It kind of hinted that it might.
That is the hope. That is the idea, that this was the first of a series, and all 4 Wendy girls will get a book.
I was going to ask you about that, if the girls from the Wendy League would be getting their own stories.
Yeah, I'm working on the second one right now, and have ideas brewing for where this series will go.
There you are. Like, we lost your picture. There she is.
Oh. Did your phone time out?
I don't think so, but I don't want to show your phone number on there, so that might be bad. All right, I think we're good. Okay, so I know that you have a lot of inventions and things going on in the book. Did you have to do a ton of research about the inventions?
Yeah, so it's during the second industrial revolution. So something I learned. So the first industrial revolution was like the cotton gin and trains, and what was the other big one? Telephone? Maybe the telephone. No, because the telephone was happening during the second. So the second industrial revolution was now we have the steam engine. So the first one was the cotton gin and the steam engine. Those were huge, and they just sparked a bunch of just those ideas themselves sparked a bunch of innovation. And then we go through the second industrial revolution, which is motor cars and telephones, and electricity was brand new baby thing happening. And so we're just getting this burst of not only innovation, but also the women's movement. It's had its beginnings during the Victorian era, and it's during the Edwardian era that we see the banners and the marching and the arrests being made and things like that for women who are taking a stand and wanting to vote. It's just the horse and carriage idea is, getting a little bit pushed aside as these trains and cars, and the Wright brothers are working on their airplane right as this book story takes place. So
yeah,
it's pretty exciting time.
Yeah, it definitely is. Would you want to live in that era, do you think?
In some ways, yes, I think it would be really exciting. But I also think of the innovation I've seen in my lifetime here, and I have plumbing and hot running water and flush toilets.
Yeah, those are nice.
But I think the fashion of the day was beautiful. They're losing a lot of the restrictive clothing. I mean, there's still layers. Don't get me wrong. There's still layers, but they're losing a lot of the restrictive layers. The clothing becomes more loose and flowy, especially in the years after this, in just the few years after this first book takes place. And anyway, I think it would be exciting. I think it would be hard to still be suppressed as a woman. Because these women were still fighting hard for even just a voice at the dinner table.
Yeah. It's kind of on the cusp for women. You're straddling the two eras,
Definitely.
Have you?
And
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, this era leads up and kind of ends right before World War I starts, and think of how abrupt the change was for women once that war started. It was actually kind of they were thrust into a man's world because the men went to war, and there were rations even on fabric, and they couldn't use all the fabric to make their long flowy dresses and layers, and so the fashions got shorter, and the skirts got shorter, and the sleeves got it was more of a tailored look, and so we see it becoming more what's the word, I don't know, efficient for the times, and what they could use of the fabric that they could find or were given.
Yeah. Have you ever been to London?
No. I want to so badly.
Yeah.
I think that would be great to go to the places I'm writing about because I taught classes on setting, and one of the things I push is if you can go there, go there.
Right.
And to get the scents and the sounds and the feel of the air and the everything. There's so much that what birds do you hear, or what is this? What are the street sounds? Everything. I would love to do that.
What would be your one must-see London site that you would want to go to first? You have to see it.
Oh, that's a really hard one. In London itself,
or England. England is fine.
Well, England, I'd have to go to Surrey because that's where my books are. I would love to do a castle tour, even a European castle tour, but just to see Hyde Park,
yeah,
to see how it's laid out, and to do a walking tour of important places in that era, to go to the perfumery because it's still there.
Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing?
I would love to go there and pick out my perfume.
Yeah. That was such a great scene in the book too.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
I think my favorite scene is still the clock scene, and I know you said you had a lot of fun writing that one.
I did. I think that's my favorite scene too. It just, I don't know where that came from. I just had to give them something quirky to do, and and I love clocks, but so I just researched clocks of that era to see if I could find anything interesting, and that Griffin clock came up. Yeah, that's a national clock. And it was for auction, and I took a picture and read up on it, and because it was
Last thing I heard was it was for auction. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, there was a nice write-up on it, on the history of it and the description. So
awesome. That's awesome. Now I wanted to ask you, Lydia and Andrew have a complicated, don't want to show your phone number again. See here, they have a complicated sibling relationship. So, I mean, because Andrew is trying so hard to do what he thinks is right for her, and he has a hard time seeing her as someone who can make her own decisions. I mean, did you always plan that in the story? Was that always going to be part of the thread of their story as a brother and sister?
Yes. Yeah, from the very beginning, I wanted her, I knew he was overprotective of her, and almost in a stifling way, especially to her.
Yeah.
But yes, very protective, and having trouble seeing her as anything more than his little sister.
Yeah.
That he had to take care of, and he was away at school when his parents passed, so he just feels that extra surge to be there. Yeah. But it's quite stifling for her in her mind.
Do you have an older brother that you used that experience with?
I don't. I'm the oldest.
Oh, wow. So you just pulled that out of your imagination then. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So are you more of a plotter or a pantser? How do you plot your stories?
I kind of do a skeletal plot, point A to point B to point C, and then I free write in between. So I really build my characters at the beginning, as much background as I can give them before really getting to know them in the story. Mm-hmm. I have this skeletal plot. Okay, for this to happen, they have to get here, and then they have to get here, and this might happen here. So it's very skeletal. And then I just kind of set these characters that I've created down in there, and they go.
Let's see what happens.
And I'm a very visual writer, so it kind of plays out like a movie in my head, and I'm just taking notes as fast as I can.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy, but that's what happened.
No, it doesn't sound crazy at all. And it really helps your reader, I think, to experience it and be there with the characters. At least that's how it was for me anyway.
Okay.
And you did really great on the setting and the secondary characters, the Wendy League girls. I'm so glad to hear that they might get their own book. Are you working on their book?
Yeah, I'm working on the second book right now.
And who is that? Who would that be?
It is our
Violet. Violet. I'm really happy to hear that.
Our oldest of the Wendy League. So.
Will we see, a little bit of Lydia in the next one, do you think? Like cameos?
Yes. Yeah, the girls are still very present.
Well, that's good. I'm really excited to hear that. So how many books have you written so far then?
I should really start memorizing that number. I have 6 novels published, full-length novels, and 6 novellas as part of anthologies, and a few short stories in there. But and then I have probably 4 that are unpublished and may or may not ever be read by anybody else.
There's always those few, isn't there, that may or may not ever be read.
Yeah, I've actually written 2 epic fantasies.
Oh, wow.
I love reading fantasies, but I haven't had time to give them much attention lately. So
I would never have thought you would write fantasy. That's so interesting.
Yeah. think I split my time even between reading fantasy and historical romance.
Would you publish your fantasy under a pen name, or would you publish it under your own name, do you think?
I have considered a pen name, but it would probably be pretty close.
Because didn't you at first go by Krista Jensen, and now it's just Krista Jensen?
Yes, I did. I dropped my middle name, mostly because everybody was misspelling it.
Oh, yeah.
So, it even made it misprinted on a book title once, and I caught it for them.
Oh.
Or a book cover. So, so I just thought I never was like angry or anything, but it does make a hard time for people who are searching, or, even on Goodreads, people couldn't, if they misspelled the name, then it came up as an author, but it was blank. I didn't have any books.
Oh, yeah, that's I didn't even think of that.
So, so with Miracle Creek Christmas, which was my last book, 2020, that was my first book with Shadow Mountain, and we just decided that might be a good time to make the switch and drop the middle name, because it was a new publisher, a new book under a new publisher, so we just did it, and then they have the tech and everything to tie it and fix everything, as far as social media and advertising and marketing goes, to tie it in with my old books. So,
because who was your first publisher?
Covenant Communications.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure when you said that. Emily said she's been a fan of yours since Of Grace and Chocolate.
Oh.
Wasn't that a great book? I love that book too, Emily.
Yes. Did you know that was not supposed to be my first book?
Really?
Yeah. They accepted The Orchard. That was my first novel I ever wrote, was The Orchard. And Covenant accepted that. And then they accepted Falling for You, which was about both sisters. The Orchard was about the first sister, and Falling for You was about the second sister, and then I wrote Of Grace and Chocolate, and I had already written, that was my fifth novel that I wrote, because I kept on writing while all those were being looked at, and, by the publisher. And I think I had learned so much about writing by the time I submitted Of Grace and Chocolate to them, and my first book still hadn't come out, that I had improved that much that they were like, this needs to be your breakout novel. And so they said, would you consider having this come out first instead of the other two? And the interesting thing was while I was writing it, I got to a certain point and I thought to myself, oh, I kind of wish this could be my first novel.
And then it worked out.
And then it worked out, and after that came The Orchard, and then Falling for You. So.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a great story.
It took a long time, but it got there.
Yeah. Oh, do you have a favorite book, or do you just like them all?
Oh, they're all dear to me. I do. I think probably I do. Kisses in the Rain is special to me because I wrote it based on where I grew up, where I was a child, and so that was really fun to go back there. But otherwise, I love them all very much, and I'm just happy to share them.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, I think that's part of one of the very best things about being an author is just getting to share those things that mean something to you in a book.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever base your characters on real people from your life, or no?
A couple of times. For example, in Of Grace and Chocolate, the hero of that book, I kind of gave him a bit of the personality and looks of my younger brother. And then, let's see, I'm trying to think. So in the orchard, there is, gosh, they're so long ago, I'm trying to remember their names.
Yeah.
But the aunt or sister, I don't know. Anyway, she is very much my mom. And she was very pleased with that. My mom was very pleased with that. She's a fun character. So every once in a while, mostly just secondary characters. I don't do my main characters after people. Yeah, right. That I know. That's pushing it.
Yeah.
for me, my comfort level.
Well, if you could tell people one thing that you love the most about your writing journey, what would it be?
That's a loaded question, Julie.
I know.
I have loved the world it has opened up to me. I have loved the friends that I've made in the writing community. I have loved that this has given me a career where my children see I'm doing something I'm passionate about and fairly successful with and that I love. That's me being me, not me being mom doing something, you know?
Right.
And I absolutely love just the back and forth with people who have read my books and that somehow my stories are reaching them or you know they're resonating with them. That's amazing. That's so fun.
That is fun. That's one of the things I like best too. Well, my last question for you today is, what book are you reading now? What's on your nightstand?
Right now, I am reading Sarah Eden's.
Is it The Bachelor and the Bride, the new one?
No, it's The Rogue. The Merchant and the Rogue.
Merchant and the Rogue.
Yeah. I'm one behind.
What? You didn't read it the day it came out like I did?
I don't know if you know this, Julie, but both my sons got married this summer.
Oh, well, that explains it.
The last one was just last week, and I am still...
You're still recovering then. You're still recovering. That makes so much more sense.
It has been a joyous summer, but it has not been my own.
Yes, you have been very busy, I'm sure.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's fun. I mean, do you have a favorite author that's your go-to author when you're not planning 2 weddings in a summer?
Oh, gosh. I have really come to love, and she's... Ashton Newbold is kind of new to the Regency and historical romance, but I love her stories. And so when she gets a new and she's self-publishing, she does an amazing job, fantastic. And when she gets a new one, I get it.
I'll have to look her up. I don't think I've heard of her.
Yeah, so there's a shout out for Ashton Newbold.
Yeah, well, thanks. I'm always looking for good new authors to try.
And she's a sweetheart. She's old enough to be my daughter. I mean, she's young enough to be my daughter. But she is doing amazing work.
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to look her up. Well, thank you so much for sticking with me through all of these technical difficulties today, through FaceTime, through all of this. You have been so great, and I really appreciate it.
I'm glad we could figure something out. I'm sorry I didn't get to meet your friends.
That's okay. It'll be recorded on the Book Chat Book Club site, and it'll be also on YouTube, so we'll look for it there. But You have been so great. Thank you so much, Krista.
Thanks for having me, Julie, and thanks for the interview that you did for me too, for Meridian Magazine.
Oh, thanks. Well, everyone should get Hearts of Briarwell. It's a unique, fresh not Regency, Edwardian romance. So you definitely want to, I almost said Regency, but definitely want to read this one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll see you later. Bye.